Happy Cinco de Mayo, our people. And let's hope that today is also Cinco Goodbye to the Tigers. Will we get the sweep? We're going to talk about that right after the break. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the upper deck. I am going to stop the screen for a minute. We'll get to that in a hot second. Hey, Jonna, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Len?
Doing good. 8 days a week. I think the Beatles got it wrong. It felt like 50 days this week. Long week, but so glad to be here today with you, and lots of stuff to talk about, good, bad, and ugly.
Right. We had bad dogs all week, and then all of a sudden they turned into good dogs on Friday night. So
Yeah, it was a lot of
fun.
woofing and a lot of howling, but some whining, that's for sure, from the dogs. So, and good morning, Lori, Jonathan, Frederick, NFE, and so glad to see you all here and ready to just dive in. So yeah, let's our usual springboard. Again, there's the super big shout out to Spencer, who's always still jumping in with the trivia question of the week. So here we go. This week, yes, viewers were treated to listening to David Cohn and Joe Girardi in the booth with Michael Kay. Cohn and Girardi were battery mates for Cohn's perfect game 25 years ago. Here's the question. Which New York Yankee fielder caught the last out to secure David Cohn's perfect game that day? So FG, you're just Jay, you're just here for the trivia question, just in time. Hey, TC, good to see you. So we're gonna keep this on the screen for a hot second, so you could ponder. And as usual, we'll get to it at the end of the show. So, oh, Lori's bidding in. She's saying, "What is Brocious?" or "Who is Brocious?" So, all right, well, perhaps we'll tell you at the end for sure. FJ's saying the Warrior. Okay, well, all right, two good bid ins. Do you have any guesses, Jana?
Um,
99. It was
I mean,
1999, by the way. I just might have given a clue to somebody, but yeah.
I
Um,
I
yeah,
like
it's okay. You're
I like that brocious answer.
Brocious, man. What a yeah.
He was
That
a
was,
character.
yep, he really was. Well, so this was a week, all right. Oh, NFP, I'll tell you the question again. Um, so we're talking about that David Cohn and Joe Girardi were in the booth with Michael Kay this week. And by the way, I hope that's a forever thing. To me, that's just the trifecta.
That was fun.
I just love that combination. Then it kind of doesn't matter that Joe Girardi was my 90 crush of the 90s and 2000s. So anyway, enough about me. So they were in the booth together, and they were also battery mates for Cohn's perfect game 25 years ago. Which New York Yankee fielder caught the last out to secure David Cohn's perfect game that day? So, oh, and Jonathan's bidding in with Tino or Brocious if it was an infielder. Okay. Yep. Oh, you're bringing up all of the dynasty vibes, guys. Yeah, keep just saying the names. It puts me in a happy place. So let's talk about the week. I mean, do we even want to revisit or the Baltimore traumatic events?
No, I really don't think we do. Although we should touch on Luis Hill and what a great outing he had. So, but I think we can do that when we talk about the good dogs of the week.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off with some fun things. Let's stir the pot a little bit. So let's do our hot takes of the week. Um,
Yeah.
so Jonna, do you want to start off with that?
Yeah, you know what? I have a couple. I'm not sure if
Great.
these are like super hot takes, but I know that they're a little bit controversial, at least because I have gotten some pushback on them. So one thing is that I absolutely disagreed with Blackney throwing Judge out yesterday. I obviously have rose-colored glasses. I love our captain. I love the Yankees. But like just big picture, I think Aaron Judge is like the one of the most respectful guys, one of the most respectful players, and he's just like I just did not think that was warranted. I thought it was very like just reactionary. And I mean, I think like in general, overall this year, umpires are soft. They are the strike zone sucks. Just consistently bad performances, I think. And I just that like really pissed me off. And I did get some pushback from people on it. I know that was a strike, but Aaron Judge hadn't chirped the entire game, and like I still feel like he has the right to like say something, and I didn't think that he was out of control. So that was my one thing, and my other thing is that um, I think Alex Verdugo is so good for this team. The energy that he brings, and I've had people say like, he's a clown, and like this is Red Sox behavior, this isn't Yankees behavior, and when you think back to like some of the most powerful teams we've had, like look at '09, Nick Swisher. Like it's just you need characters in the dugout that bring out like the vibes. And
Yeah.
I think like the guys are thriving off of it. And I mean, they thrived off it last weekend when they put Doogie in the cleanup spot, and then Doogie goes on paternity leave. And what do? We absolutely sucked in Baltimore without him. And I'm not saying it's like just because he wasn't there, but I just think he's really good for this team.
100%. And like NFB's saying, whatever happened to having fun, it went away for a really long time. And I agree. I really do feel that, I mean, it's certainly not the cause of why we haven't had a ring since 2009. And certainly not what happened in 2017, but and Didi was the most recent example after Swisher, right? Like you
Yeah.
need that vibe guy. You just do. And Nestor did his best, but starting some trouble in the dugout during the games, and with throwing bubble gum on people and that sort of thing. But this is pervasive energy that you just can't avoid if you wanted to. And I agree. So that's a hot take that I'll take all day. And yeah, we certainly missed him. And I think we touched on this last week a little bit. It really was the perfect place to put Verdugo. Because I know that some folks were thinking maybe he should have taken off for Volpe at leadoff. But, this is really a place for a hungry guy. This is
Yeah.
for the guy that wants to bring the energy, have the energy, and let's face it, get the props. And he's certainly been getting the props and earning them. And NFA, yeah, for sure, they're a good team. We're a half game behind them at the moment, because the nerve of them winning two when we finally win two. But there needed to be a better performance against the Orioles, because you know what? I don't think the Orioles were top notch during that series. And I think it was really more about those missed opportunities with the cold bats. And so that's what was really frustrating. Yeah, because absolutely. And yeah, we're gonna definitely Heel deserves a highlight, because I'm speaking for the Yankee universe apparently today. I don't mean I don't mean that I I was very iffy about Heel until the last two outings. And now it feels like, wow, he grew up really fast since, his tantrums from a few weeks ago, and settled in and did the stuff. I thought he looked stellar this week.
Eh,
And so
yes.
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Jonna, what do you think
The
about
I
it?
just wanted to say the strike zone says heel out pitching. Burns says something. And actually, I was looking at our stats this morning, and we are going to touch on the rotation a little bit, but he's kind of out pitching everyone right now. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And I love to see it. And Angela, thanks for joining us. First time here. And I think you said you're from Sweden. So happy Cinco de Mayo anyway. Everyone is Mexican on Cinco de Mayo, just like everyone's Irish on St. Patty's Day. So good to have you here. And TC, 100%, we beat ourselves. We're getting
Yeah.
in our own way, and just cut it out already. And it's frustrating on them, and Michael's saying the Yankees didn't hit too many mistakes. We're going to get to those too. And you said you had a second hot take, Jonna.
Oh, that was my
Oh, that was
second
your
hot take was Verdugo, and then my
Vertigo.
first hot
Right.
take was, yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, Uncle Ted, you showed up. Good to see you. So my hot take is that I am coming out formally to announce that Clay Holmes is my closer. And that's a hot take.
You've come to the good side. You've
I
come
have
to my
come,
side.
I've come to your side.
I'm just kidding.
And I've seen the light, and there's just no denying it. And part of it is, well, you know what, we're not going to get haters in the Class A's anytime soon. And you know what, he really is showing that he could rise to the top of the cream of the crop there. So I am done. I've thrown out my Rolaids. I am all in on Clay Holmes, and there it is. Not a hot take, but but for some, I think it still is, because I think there's still a lot of people in the Rolaids and nail biting camp, and I do understand why. And so that was that for hot takes of the week. Um, so
when I had said Clay Holmes was my closer, like earlier, I don't know what was, like maybe my first episode on here. I still had a little bit in me that was like, okay, but we need to see a little bit more. But consistently every week, like he still continues to be at the top of the, like you said, he is the cream of the crop. Looking around the league, he's still leading in a lot of departments. And I think the one thing that has increased over the last few weeks is his strikeouts, which we didn't see so many of those
yes,
early on, but now it seems like he's getting more strikeouts and fewer like of those ground outs.
right, yeah. And so really just has settled right in again, and the consistency is what's always gotten me. You never knew which one you were going to get. And he has been consistent enough the past several games that I'm switching teams there. And Jonathan's reminding us that he's a free agent.
Yep.
So look, Cashman's going to have some money to think about spending, and his home's going to be one of those ones that we're really going to be pushing him to, open the purse on.
Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of homes, let's pivot to our dogs in the yard. These are our good dogs of the week. So and so well, we just went through homes. So we'll start at the bottom with the pictures there. Also, Schmidt has been um, really really above usual the past few series. And when you're looking at the rotation and what it is, and we don't need to keep reliving it every week, um starting to see that consistency. And what really works in Schmidt's favor is, despite his struggles, he has confidence. He's got he's got a lot of confidence. And I also learned because he was mic'd up and I caught the video afterwards, when Hoke pushed, he's funny in the dugout. Who would know that if he wasn't mic'd up? But he's poking in the poking on people and getting some people riled up in the dugout. So he's bringing the good energy too. So good doggy, good dog this week.
Great,
And
yeah.
then yep, and then Jana, I know you have some pictures to mention too, but I also wanted to mention Luke Weaver. And that's really from short term memory of yesterday, because he really he those middle innings were stretched. It was, so five through, they brought Holmes in. So good for Weaver for saving the bullpen with Schmidt having to be pulled so early, which really was just him losing his location early. He was just something was starting to go south quickly, but he had been solid the first really early innings. But yeah, Weaver has really showed himself for his duration, and kept the score where it was so that Holmes could just step right in and seal the deal. Um,
Mhm.
what you have to add to pitching? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, so just back to Clark Schmidt, I want to say Spencer is listening today, and he just texted me and said Clark Schmidt has really been improving, and if he keeps it up, he may actually be in consideration for all-star spot, which I agree with.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And when you text Spencer back, I'll tell him later, like that take, I'll take that take all day long. Um, and yeah, strike zone. I remember too. A lot of fans were trashing Weaver signing. And look at him now. A lot of people should be eating crow from that. And Michael, I don't think I said good morning when you came in. So good morning, and good morning to Brooke. Great to see you here as well. Um, and then there was someone else you were going to talk about, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, just overall in general, our pitching is our whole pitching staff is unsung heroes, I think, which was my hot take a while back. Um, I agree, Luke Weaver, he had a rough few first outings, but like it seems like he's finding his comfort level here, and he has been very reliable for us in his last like four-ish outings. So I think like he is morphing into that multi-innings reliever, which is what we needed from the get-go. So especially with some of the guys that we have out. But I did want to say overall, our pitching staff has the third best ERA in baseball right now at a 3.01. And we still have the most saves, which I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago at 15. Um, Clay Holmes, he's got, what did I read? 18 strikeouts per walk. Like, that is insane. I think there's one other guy, and I don't remember who, has 16 per walks, but everybody else is around like 3 or 4. So he's insane. Um, but yeah, I think our whole staff is looking really good right now. Like the worst ERA we have is Nestor in our rotation at 3.86, which like that's not even bad. Um,
No.
Everybody's got like Schmidt's got 41 strikeouts in his last 36 innings. Like I think he's also finding his comfort level. And I think
Yeah.
despite this last outing, I think he has been improving on like being able to like I think he's extending a little bit. I think we'll be able to start seeing him in the sixth and maybe hopefully the seventh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the earliest he's been pulled so far because
Mhm.
I think he, has gotten, through into at least the fifth. But absolutely, we need more from him. We definitely still need more from Nestor. Um, and we have Nestor on the hill today, so we definitely need good and long duration Nestor today, for sure. And at least we have an off day tomorrow. Oh, what a
Finally.
I know, and they need it. I mean, this has been what, this is the 18th consecutive day, I think, game, I think.
Mhm. I think
So
so.
they, they get to take a nap before Houston, which
Which,
is,
speaking of them, they are 5 for 7 in their last 7. Not to say that they're coming out of whatever's going on, because I don't know that they are, but at least in their last 5, or at least in their last 7 outings, they have not been too bad. So,
yeah. I'm just counting on them. I'm just counting on us beating them. And you're right. I think we learned, most certainly from the A's, that we can't go in there thinking, because of our numbers and their numbers, that it's going to be a stroll. It's Astros Yankees, and the Astros are going to be fired up to show the world, let alone the Bronx, that they're
yeah.
still in it.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, and Laura, you're right. The weather isn't looking so good. As the first thing I did was look out my window, and not looking so good. And well, frankly, yesterday they had the lights on in the first inning, and made it through. So let's hope today is the same deal. So that was our good dogs, and I'm going to take us back in time to about 5 minutes ago to talk about who's in the doghouse. Who are the
mhm.
bad dogs this week? Well, there's one in particular that comes to mind, and there he is. No, that is not, as Jonna hilariously said last night, Uncle Fester, nor nor is it Brett Gardner's crazy uncle. This is Ryan Blakeney, who wins really just the baddest dog in the whole damn town, and the bad, not the good bad. And just what a ridiculous, um, ridiculous display. And I think somebody already mentioned something like this, but Aaron Judge, had never been ejected. Let alone, not, set aside that this was his 870th major league game. Put that aside. He was asked by him after the game, like, no game ever, from the littles on through. And then insult to injury, he's the first Yankee captain since Mattingly, 30 years ago. I think it was Michael that raised that earlier, if I'm correct. So, and look, if he deserved it, then that's one thing. But there's no way in hell. I mean, he was not in this guy's face, and he was walking away, and he was a gentleman afterwards and said, I'm not going to say what I said. I haven't seen if John Boyd did his lip reading thing. Um, I think we all know he said that's bullshit. And I think he might have said, like, something about shit all the game or something, but he was walking away. He wasn't in his face. He was essentially, you know, don't eavesdrop so much. Don't look for the trouble. How about that? The guy's walking away and not delaying the game.
Yeah, leave
And
it alone. Let it go.
seriously, Elsa, like, put a wig on and sing the song. But to your point earlier, Jonna, like, where's the accountability on these umpires? I'm thinking about that Hunter guy. I forget his I can't I forget his last name. Earlier in the week.
Mm,
Where's their boss? And like, where do we get to challenge behavior, not just calls?
exactly.
And
And why can a player or or a manager be fined, but when an umpire does something like throw Aaron Boone out for something he didn't even do, why is there no accountability? Why can't he be punished by, like, being suspended from a few games, and, like, then he's without pay for a few games or something like that? Like, that's it. That is what bothers me so much, is there's no accountability. And I feel like with any other system, they're, at the top, there should always be accountability, and that's why there should be 360 reviews. Like players and managers should be able to also review umpire performance.
I agree 100%. And people can say that there's accountability because you get to challenge calls, but you don't get to challenge ejections. So at the very least, let's call about that. Let's challenge ejections, especially first time ejections, and maybe come up with criteria for when you can challenge an ejection. And yeah, I think they're just whatever their contract and whoever negotiated it, they were definitely picked over because whoever negotiated against them, really sucky job because they're getting away with murder. Um, and yeah, and I think you're right, Renstedt or something like that. So maybe if I think like Linda Ronstadt, I'll remember. Try that. Um, but yeah, he's in the doghouse, and then I didn't put his picture up because I wanted it to be all about this guy. But you know what? Let's talk about Glaber for a second because I'm glad that he got his home run out of the way. And we traveled 30 days or so to wait for that, but um, it there. See, I don't have words. I like the guy. I like the player. I love that he wants to remain a Yankee. Who wouldn't? Um, but there were multiple embarrassing plays on the field this week in Baltimore and here. Um, just really horrible. I don't even have the words for it. Um, and what I don't get is, and Lori, yeah, you're right. It's like he's an absent-minded man. Thank you for your kindness. But I also think what's frustrating to me is he made an excellent play yesterday. He
Mhm.
actually like not caught, like really reached and got a ball, pivoted so fast and got the guy out at first that even Michael K was like excited. So why not more? Why not more
Yeah.
of that? What do you think's
See,
up?
that's a good point because think back to Friday night's game and think back to the um, top of the eighth. We made 3 incredible defensive plays in a row. It was like Oswaldo had that great throw. Judge had that crazy play. I don't remember what the third one was. Oh, Victor Gonzalez. It was I don't remember if it was a Rizzo stop or a Glaber stop. It was maybe Glaber to, or no, it would have been Rizzo to Gonzalez.
Mhm.
Um, 3 incredible defensive plays. And then they fed off of that. And that's what, like, literally what fueled the offense and we won the game. Like that, so like on the flip side, when we're playing like shitty defense, you know, um, that probably fuels them too in a negative way. So, and John Birdie's back too, by the way, was reinstated. He's a good defense. I think he's a good fielder, and so
Yeah.
maybe we'll have him at second a little bit if Glaber
Yeah.
doesn't clean it up.
Yeah, and I see that CWE is saying that he'll get benched for DJ soon. I I hate to say it, but DJ is not coming back soon.
That's my feeling too.
I think we see Cole before we see DJ. And
Yeah.
Cole, has a mandatory another, 30 days, a little less left yet before he could even think about rehabbing Alzheimer's. So
Speaking of Cole, I forgot to mention when we talked about our pitching, he threw 15 from the mound yesterday, 13 for strikes, and he was averaging 89 miles per hour. They
yeah,
asked him how he was feeling on like a scale of 1 to 10. And he said, like in terms of game ready, and he said, but somewhere between 1 and 5, which like I don't really even know what that means, like game ready, but that's what he said. So
yeah, and that interview was just like, so I'm going to use a word my grandmother would use, delightful, because like um he was so giddy talking about it,
Mhm.
and just like talking about even just driving, he was just like pulsating and amped up in the car, um and he was just so happy to talk about it. And Cole's kind of a frustrating, tall, slow speaker.
Yeah,
And not then, just and God, I want him back so bad.
I
But
know.
he also understands, and he knows he does, can't rush it, and he doesn't want to rush it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really so confident we're going to get him back, and not be worried about if we're really getting him back. I think we will be, and it'll be worth the wait.
And I mean, he's a true leader and he's a true team player because despite all of his setbacks here, he continues to be in the dugout and be like such a positive force and positive influence. And we all know that he can contribute to the game in ways beyond being on the mound. Like he's just so smart and being able to like analyze what's going on and probably give feedback
Yep.
during the game. And so I think like despite that, he's still contributing to this team in a huge way.
Right, I agree. I mean, there's really there's three captains in the clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
The captain, and then Rizzo, and Cole. And so yeah, 100% such a leader there. Always out, like standing in the dugout, not even just like relaxing back, standing on the top step, watching everything. And the minute a guy gets back in, he's got something to say to them. Um,
Mhm.
what made me crack up about that is going back to Glaber for a second. When Judge was being ejected, and you see Rizzo hanging over the rails, getting ready to get ejected himself, and there's Torres with his iPad, like looking at the iPad and scrolling the screen. And so, in one way, I'm thinking, well, wow, you're that focused on when you get back on the field that you're not even distracted right now. And I'm also thinking, but you know what? Absent-minded, like absent-minded, like
Yeah.
clueless. Like that's your guy, and you're there like on the iPad. Um, it just struck me as funny, but you know, I don't know. With Torres, CWE, I don't think so. I think Torres has every hope in the world that he's getting re-signed. And that there's some sentimentality, if nothing else, which he should know better about that. But um, I don't know. The doubts are there because things have changed even since the season started. Who would have thought that Cabrera would be who he is right now? Um, and you would think, there was a time not that long ago that I was thinking, okay, Cabrera until Birdie gets back. I don't think that happens. I think Cabrera is staying at third, um,
Mhm.
indefinitely. And to
Yep,
your
I
point,
do too.
Donna, if anything, at second, if they start having the cojones to keep, Torres on the bench more.
Yep.
Um, he has been absolutely essential. And it's just so great to see. And he deserves that spot. So it's more, what to do with DJ when he gets back. Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah, because I think that's an automatic, what you said about Birdie. So, and yeah, no doubt low baseball IQ from Glaber. It's not just an issue about mechanics and changing things, tweaking things here and there. He doesn't have the baseball IQ. So the fundamentals even slip by. What's frustrating is that it's sporadic. You get glimmers of it, but those glimmers are few and far between. Um, Anything about that before we move on to our next topic? You want to talk about?
No, no. I guess in terms of bad dogs on the offensive side, obviously everyone was kind of a bad dog beginning of the well through the week until Friday night. But Stanton, man, he is like he's one too. He shows glimmers, right? But he's probably like in terms of our offensive performance in his last 29 at bats, he has 12 strikeouts. So it's just it's frustrating. I mean, I think like the lineup situation's interesting, and I just don't think we can have him right behind Judge anymore. I really think we're thriving with Verdugo right behind Judge.
I would agree with that. And yeah, I am a Stanton advocate, and it's 100% clear that he is not the cleanup guy anymore. And I think that he knows it, because when you look at the fact that he has been more clutch in small ball than power
Mhm.
hitting, I that has to be part mentality of the team, and they really seem to have that next man up vibe back, which is so fantastic to see, because that was also missing. Probably a combination of that, but also realizing, hey, I better produce somehow, some way, and get more
Yeah.
realistic about it. And my body is telling me I can't like go for those, 444 foot, bombs out of the yard. And
We don't
it's
need anybody doing that right now. We need to keep
no,
playing small ball because that's when we produce. Like
that's
that
right.
is, you know?
That's right. Yeah, and look what how it worked in our favor. Last week I was bitching about our RISP numbers, which I looked up, and they're really not what you want, league wide, where we are with it. I think we're 14th in the league for it, and all major league. But they really did the thing and cleared those bases again and again.
Mhm.
So I think you're right about that, and I think you're, also, and we talked about this. They haven't listened yet, but we did talk about this last week, that Volpe has to get out of leadoff. Um, I don't know exactly who would that be, but it wasn't Glaber, and it's not Volpe, and
It's Cabrera.
yeah, yeah. I think Cabrera is a great candidate for that. I think if Stanton has some measure of consistency showing up, he could be, one of those.
Yeah.
If we really feel comfortable that, small ball is going to be consistent and successful, but too much for Volpe. I think we need him lower down.
I like Lori's comment. Riz looks hot with his hair growing out. I agree. I like his hair. I just noticed that the other day. I was like, is he trying to grow it like Judge a little bit? Like, I like it. I like it.
Um, Rizzo got a hair transplant, says CWE. That's not nice. He's not from Hair Club for Men. I think that's the curly Italian hair you see from Southern Italians.
Mhm.
And yeah, strike zone. That's exactly where I would put Volpe. It's down six or seven, with maybe Stanton, fifth. So or vice versa. So yeah, I think they should be, lineup mates somewhere around there. What are you thinking, John? I see you doing this.
I'm looking at the comments going, I don't know. With I don't like Verdugo at leadoff. I initially a lot of people thought that, but I don't know. I like him where he's at. I think that that's working. The 2 games that we put him there, we scored 15 runs. So I
Mm,
like him I like him where he is. But yeah, I like to your point, I don't know who we would put at leadoff. I really don't.
right. And I just think that, didn't we try Doogie there? It wasn't for a long tryout, but I think we had him there on the road um, a couple of times. But um, I don't know, and maybe it's too soon to tell about cleanup. Also, that's still a small sample size too.
For
So
sure.
So I
Yeah.
think that we're going to have to, see if there'll be, there will be more adjustment. Face it, it's Boone, and he's been pretty well behaved so far. But getting back to Cabrera, NFE, I know you disagree with respect, but I think he's a candidate because, um, he's young like Volpe, but I think he has more confidence in some ways than Volpe does. I think there's a little more element of baseball maturity to Cabrera, which might have come from him being, utility and being up a bit earlier than Volpe was. But I
I
think
think
it's worth at least trying.
placement can change your mentality a little bit too. Like, I mean, like you said, it is probably too soon to tell on Verdugo, but I think moving him to that 4 spot, I think his that maybe that changed his confidence a little bit. Cabrera, you never know. He seems to be turning the lineup over, I think, swellingly. And to those who suggest John Birdie, he went 1 for 9 in 2 games with Somerset this week. So I don't think that he's a leadoff candidate.
Yeah, right. Okay. So there's that. And yeah, Michael, you're right. There's a lack of leadoff candidates. And when DJ gets back, it's not going to be him. I don't know that anyone in the chat would disagree with that. I'm sure we'll hear from them if they do. But we do have some speaking of who we have and who we don't have, we do have some prospects to talk about. So this week we're starting a new segment, and it's called Dogs in the Farm. So let's talk about the farm for a little bit. So I was reading this week about Tristan Vreeling. Um, he is a right-hander who is rated as the number 22 prospect by MLB Pipeline, and he's been rocking the house in Somerset. And that's from coming back after being out all last season with an injury. In April, they named him Eastern League Pitcher of the Month. And get this, in his first month at AA, he led all pitchers with a .75 whip while posting a 1.88 ERA and a 145 BAA. So I think that he's somebody to keep an eye on. So that was a mention I wanted to give to something looking exciting in Somerset, and reminding me that I probably need to get down there for a game. I
I
don't live
love
that
that.
far away.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a great shout out. I like that.
yeah. Um, so is there let's see. Let me just check in the comments before I pivot to the next things. Oh, that's interesting. We tend to forget about the Martian. Um,
No.
that's a good point, Michael. I haven't thought about him in a minute. Does anyone know his status, by the way? He's been off my radar. Um, but
Well, I know he was ahead of schedule in his rehabbing, and they were thinking like midsummer, more like June, I think, but like end of June maybe, because earlier on it was like, oh, he won't be back until August or like whatever, end of August. But
right.
yeah, I think he is ahead of schedule.
All right. Well, so that's good to know. We might be having a Cole Dominguez, back to back welcome back party. Um, and yeah, so he'll start AAA. What? Oh, I said something. Um, okay, ladies and gentlemen, D-Rod has arrived. In case you were wondering, he's here with the jokes. Single and looking for a date. Okay. Good morning to you, D-Rod. Um, so in terms of other news, that's worth talking about. There was an article I read from Cutie and Kirshner on from the Athletic this week, and about who has doubled their value already this season, and for the Yankees, it was Soto. Duh. Um, but they're saying that this narrative that the Yankees offense is just Soto and then the rest of the team isn't accurate. Their point was that last year's team had just 4 regulars at or above league average. With both Rizzo and DJ, as we know, they were just lousy for chunks of the season. Apparently, this year the Yankees have 7 players with at least a 115 WRC plus, and yet they're caving in with the reality that Soto carries the offense. So if MVP was given out this month, he would win it. But and the other thing is that the fact that he's been so reliable in the outfield. And what I didn't know is that he's currently tied for second in both defensive runs saved and outs above average for all right fielders. So
Wow.
I know in isolation as I'm watching games that I've been really, really impressed with him out there, but I had no idea that he was that high up in the average there. So I thought that was interesting to mention.
That is
Uh,
interesting, yeah.
yeah. So if there's no other news, we're just about ready to wrap up here on our end, which means that Spencer, if you're still listening, we're going to end with the answer to your trivia question. So I'm going to put that back up on the screen. And just as a reminder before I do, the question was, which New York Yankee caught the last out to seal David Cohn's perfect game in 1999? And so some of the guesses in the chat were Tino, Brucius, Paul O'Neill, and here is the answer for everybody. Scott Brocious. In foul territory, halfway between third and home, it was Scotty Brocious in the clutch, like always. And Coney
Mhm.
immediately fell to his knees, and Girardi came and hopped on him anyway. And it was like the best moment ever.
Coney
So,
doesn't post on Twitter a whole lot, but he did post that day that Joe was in the booth with him, and I commented and said, "Well, at least 2 of you are perfect," because it was a picture of him and Michael K. and Joe Girardi, and I said, "Well, at least 2 of you are perfect."
that was
But
great.
it was heartwarming.
Oh yeah, I mean, all the feels, and I still have my Girardi. In fact, I seldom post pictures of myself on Twitter, but I did when Girardi was in the booth of me wearing his number in Yankee
Oh,
Stadium in the '90s. I still have it. I'm not going to say whether or not it still fits, but I still have it. Um, so so I think that's about it for the week. John, any last thoughts, last words as we head into hopefully the sweep day and then looking ahead to the Astros?
yeah, my thoughts are, let's get the sweep today, and let's get another Astros sweep.
Yep. I think I don't know if the lineup is out. I didn't see if anyone posted that it is, but I'm not even sure who's pitching. I didn't do good homework this morning. Who's pitching for the Tigers today? And so yeah, I hope so, and there's every reason to believe so. I think Nestor is rested and ready and wants that sweep. So let's just say yes, it shall be so. And yeah, the Houston is coming to our house, so that helps. That helps. We'll take everything that helps. So
Cool.
let's stop on them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. So look, to everyone in the chat, we thank you so much for being with us and always adding to the discussion. I also just want to close by saying to don't forget to do this. If you haven't liked so far, and you've liked being here, and most of you stuck around the whole time, so we presume so, give us a like. If you're not subscribed to Pinstripe Chronicles, please do it. And bring a friend next week. And come back next week. We'll find you if you don't come back next week. We know who you are. Um, and Jana, thanks as always. And don't forget to watch the Pinstripe Chronicle guys Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. live right here on the Pinstripe Chronicles channel. You also have friends in the chat with shows like the Strike Zone here. Check out the Strike Zone also on this channel. And Babes is Jana's other podcast. And you can find them on all of the platforms. And as always, you all have a reserved seat right here with John and me on the upper deck. Happy Cinco de Mayo and go Yankees!
Go Yanks!